Bitcoin could be getting ready for a massive pump as we see the money from the Terra network continuing to pile into the market, continuing to push the spot price of Bitcoin higher, continuing to cause hype as people know that another $9 billion plus of Bitcoin purchases are coming and people are trying to front run the Terra protocol buying Bitcoin. It's pretty interesting story here that I want to cover with you today, and it's important to be talking about this right freaking now because they still have over $9 billion worth of Bitcoin that they are going to be buying, which is crazy, man. So we talk about that in today's video. Also, make sure to watch and through until the end. We're going to talk about the rise of the Petro Bitcoin and the fall of the Petro dollar. My name's Lark. Every day I make videos talking about cryptocurrency investing. If you do like that topic, like, stay up to date with what's happening in the cryptocurrency markets. Just a little tap on the thumbs up button. That'd be super awesome, man. Thank you very much. Now, let's go ahead and hop into the charts. Just quickly, I don't need to spend too much time here looking at the charts. Not a dramatic amount has changed, but I do want to point out that something very important is happening right here. Look at this. $42,500 was a very important area of price resistance. We have now closed 2 daily candles above that. Where is the price right now? Well, the price is moving up here towards our orange line. Now that orange line represents the top of our symmetrical triangle. We would want to see the price closing above that, ideally closing above this right here, which is $45,500. Now, why is that important? Because until we get to $45,500, all of this price rally is just a lower high. That's it. Another lower high. Until we close above $45,500, we could, in theory, see this just act as a lower high. Price comes up here, comes back down here, or whatever, right? That is, from a technical perspective, what we're thinking about here is that until we break above that level, we haven't really confirmed now a potential higher high coming in to play here. And obviously we have a lot of resistance to get by here, and we have the 200-day moving average we want to get closed back above, all that fun kind of stuff we talk about on a regular basis here. But that is the number to beat right now. And I think that we could be heading towards doing that exact thing simply based on the fundamental realities of what we are seeing happening in the market right now with these incredible purchases coming in from the Terra protocol, which we're going to talk about in just a moment here. Just a quick reminder before we do, though, if you want to earn yourself a safe and simple passive income on your cryptocurrencies, you get yourself an account over on Celsius. You can earn 5% on your Bitcoin, 5.35% on your Ethereum, great rates on stablecoins, great rates on a range of altcoins. And if you use the link down below to start your account, you will get a $50 Bitcoin bonus. Now, let's get into Terra pushing up the price of Bitcoin. They have been buying Bitcoin in basically $125 million lots. Pretty impressive amount of money going in here. We can see these kind of transactions have been flooding into Binance over the past few days. In total so far, you can see this here. This is Terra's address for Bitcoin. We can see they have received $725 million worth of Bitcoin so far, which is currently worth $808 million. So they've bought 18,423 Bitcoin so far, which is a lot of Bitcoin, obviously. Now that means actually they have about 9.25 million or 9.3 billion still to invest. That's a lot more money, man. That's a lot more money that Terra is going to be investing in Bitcoin. And so if we go back here and have a quick look at this, Terra announced this a few days ago. So we started to see the purchases actually happening. This was our first purchase candle here. Essentially, the Terra purchase of $727 million worth of Bitcoin has pushed the price from $41,000 up to $44,000. There's another 9-point-something billion dollars to be bought. Now, that would assumedly push us well past our $45,500 area of resistance here. as the hype builds around this. And you have to understand, it's not just Terra buying Bitcoin right now, because everybody knows they're going to buy another $9 billion plus worth of Bitcoin. Everybody's trying to front run them. Everybody's piling in and buying Bitcoin on the anticipation that Terra is going to buy a lot more Bitcoin. Now you might think, well, wait a second, why wouldn't they have done this and quietly? Because this is all on-chain stuff. You have to understand that. They can't just move around $10 billion and have nobody notice. So they talked about it. They decided it at a governance level. They started accumulating. It was announced that they were going to be doing that. So you do have the opportunity to front run them essentially on another $9 billion of Bitcoin purchases. And if 720 million was able to get us $3,000 up, what's another $9 billion going to do? Plus, of course, all the money trying to front run them. It's very, very interesting. As Chris Bernisky points out here, be curious to see if Terra will be able to get us through the roughest parts of this year. Also, of course, an important point is that will the market stall out again after Terra buys up all of this Bitcoin? We're talking about these guys buying 150, 180,000 Bitcoin, something like this, potentially more, potentially a bit less. Depends on, of course, what price they're able to buy in at, what their average purchase price is going to be by the time they're done buying all of this Bitcoin. But when they do finish buying all that Bitcoin, will it have had the effect of kickstarting a major new bullish impulse in the market? Or once Terra's done buying, is that it? Buying pressure's over, they have a giant stack of Bitcoin, and no other new buyers come in, the market cools off, let's say. I'll be curious to see what happens. I obviously am very hopeful that we will see that be a continuation, that when Terra does cool down their buying, that essentially the market will have picked up enough momentum to keep moving on its own. It's got the wind in the sails and it'll take off. That's the idea anyway. Hopefully that's what we see happening. Now, that's the big news. Obviously, super exciting to see what's happening with Terra, wanting to create a Bitcoin standard for their stablecoin. I absolutely love it. I think it's a great idea. Let's talk about Bitcoin and oil. And before we get into the Petro Bitcoin story for today, I want to just take a quick moment to talk about this story, which is pretty interesting. Apparently, ExxonMobil, one of the world's biggest oil producers, has been running a pilot program and is about to run dozens more pilot programs to be mining Bitcoin using their flared gas. Crazy stuff. Now that flared gas normally just burnt, gone forever. Now it's being burnt in order to power Bitcoin mining machines. So it's a very clever business move for them to be basically using otherwise wasted energy to mine Bitcoin. So it's a very clever thing for them to be doing. Cool. Cool, man. At least all that wasted gas is going towards something. Mining some Bitcoin. Now, I suppose on the flip side, that does mean that Bitcoin is less powered by renewables, but also the flared gas would have been burned anyway, so instead of going to no purpose, at least it's mining Bitcoin now, so considerations, right? Let's talk about the Petro Bitcoin. This is a big story. So apparently, chairman of the State Duma, so it's like the parliament in Russia, a committee on energy, came out and basically said, yep, we are open to the idea and look at it as a potentially normal thing of accepting Bitcoin in exchange for our natural gas and oil. It's a big story. And look, I know it's a very complicated situation right now. What Russia's doing in Ukraine is terrible, without a doubt. Totally against the war. I think it's a terrible thing. And obviously, Russia wouldn't even be in this position of considering accepting Bitcoin for their oil and gas if it wasn't for being sanctioned because of the war. You don't have to like what's happening in order to recognize the importance of what is happening. If we see a major global economy like Russia, one of the world's biggest oil and gas producers, accepting Bitcoin, it's big. It's really, really big news. Right now, the petrodollar has maintained incredible dominance in international markets. right? If it's such an absurd thing. Let's say if Saudi Arabia wants to sell oil to Poland, as an example. Well, Poland needs to go and buy dollars in order to pay Saudi Arabia, which is ludicrous, right? They can't pay them in euros. They can't pay them in their local Polish currency. It's got to be in dollars. However, we've seen some interesting things happen over the last few weeks where basically Saudi Arabia said to China, yeah, we'll take Chinese yuan for our oil. That's cool. Then India said, hey, you know what? Maybe we'll start buying oil from Russia, but using the Chinese yuan instead of the US dollar. And now Russia coming out and saying, you know what? Maybe we'll start accepting Bitcoin. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. The thing with the petrodollar is that when it starts losing its status as the petrodollar, and we get the Petro Bitcoin and Petro yuan and other coins or currencies used to pay for oil, the status of the petrodollar, the US dollar, starts to lose ground, which is a dangerous thing for the power of the US dollar. And of course, it's being inflated to heck. The central bank's mismanaging it massively. And here we go, an existential threat to the prominence of the dollar in the world. And look, that doesn't mean I want to go out and buy some Chinese yuan, but man, I am sure happy to be holding Bitcoin in this kind of scenario. Pretty interesting stuff, if you ask me. Also, BlackRock has come out and said that the Russia-Ukraine conflict could accelerate Bitcoin and cryptocurrency adoption. No shirt, Sherlock. No shirt. Come on. Come on. Of course it's doing that. Of course it's doing that on both sides. On both sides. And again, the conflict is very complicated. I have friends and family on both sides of the border in Russia and Ukraine. I have had, people I know die in that conflict. It's terrible. And some people are thinking, well, Lark, what are you even doing talking about, the economic impacts of this thing? Well, it's very important to talk about that because we are investors at the end of the day. And what's happening is terrible, but we also look and see, well, what is happening with the economic situation here. And the reality is that Ukraine, a nation state, has been crowdfunding their war using cryptocurrencies, which blows my mind. Russia trying to evade sanctions, looking at Bitcoin for their oil and natural gas sales. Crazy times to live in. What's the old saying? Whatever happens, don't live in boring times. Well, man, we definitely do not live in boring times. That is for damn sure. Anyway, just my 2 Satoshis for the day. You'll let me know what you think about either this Petro Bitcoin idea or, of course, your excitement about Terra buying up crazy amounts of Bitcoin and bumping up the prices down below in the comments section. Thanks so much for watching today's video, and peace out till next time.